Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with my wife and occasional co-host of Inspire Nation,
Jessica Lee.
If you've ever wanted to organize, get rid of things, or even downsize your life, then do we have the show for you. Today we'll be talking with declutter expert and founder of Declutterfy.com, Tracy McCubbin, about doing just that. How to shed what you don't need, organize what you do, and get lighter and lighter still. But before we do that, a little backstory.
So let's rewind 8 months ago.
All right.
We're in Colorado.
Yep.
There's been a big fire.
Yep.
There's been lots of house showings. There's been a rescuing of a rooster.
Who's crashing things in the background because why not? He's a rooster.
And we are prepping to go on this amazing RV tour.
Yes.
Our first vacation ever after 11 years of marriage.
Something like that.
11 years of being together.
Okay, I'll buy that. And so we're supposed to go on this RV tour. And then there are fires and there's smoke and there's COVID and there's a home we were working to buy, which is a whole drama we're not even going into, that COVID and home inspections took care of. And we found ourselves with...
So we had 3 weeks to pack up everything in the house.
Yeah.
And put everything that we owned into storage units. All the stuff that we weren't bringing on the RV with us, which is the majority of our stuff because an RV doesn't fit a whole lot.
And we're not talking about just stuff from a house. We're talking about all of our studio equipment, all of our green screen setup, all of our electronics, all of our stuff that would really need a climate controlled storage unit.
Yeah.
Plus.
So there's the stuff from our personal lives and then the stuff from the business. And the business is its own entity.
Plus, we were a 3-car family. One was supposed to come with us on tour. However, that car turned out to be untowable. And so we had 2 vehicles
that we also had to put in storage. So we ended up with 4 storage units. And I know that sounds crazy.
They weren't big ones, though.
The one that holds the 2 cars, that's a big one because it's got to fit 2 cars. But that's all that it has. Then we were left with 3. And one is climate control. Mm-hmm. The things that really can't get too hot and can't get too cold. And then we have 2 mini storage units. And the reason why there are 2 of them is because I got really good deals on them. Otherwise, we could have just had one bigger one.
It's not that we just have stuff in the storage units.
We're not crazy people.
No, I'm not sure we're doing a good job defending ourselves here on this one.
I said we are only getting these storage units if we're only keeping our stuff in there for 3 months. And you said, no, 6 months. But here we are 8 months. And it is the end of the majority of those storage units.
So we know we're going to be going back. We know we're going to be doing some clear out. We know that what we have in this house / mini retreat center that we've been living in, a bunch of it gets to go back on the RV because it came off of an RV, but we're also going to do some downsizing here as well. But it's very pragmatic. We're not just saying, ooh, we just want to have just the clothes on our backs. That's not why we're doing any of this.
We're not moving into an RV because we're trying to be minimalist. Not that there's anything wrong with being minimalist. It's really cool. But the reason is we want to travel and explore different areas that we might potentially move to. And this seems like a great way to do it.
And I do like the minimalist idea of downsizing a little bit, getting... We'll let Rue have his words first. That's a rooster. That's a story for another day. But I do like the idea of a little bit of downsizing, less clutter, more organized spaces, a specific home for everything. That actually helps me feel breathe easy. And I enjoyed that this fall. And I got really good at it over time. In the beginning, It was chaotic clutter fudge. But I got much better at that as we went on the trip. And I really thrived on that.
Well, I agree. I like having less stuff in general. I'd be happy if we cut our stuff in half because a lot of it's from our old lives and it's got old energy. Mm-hmm. And we're moving into a new phase.
And so now we're recording this after Tracy has come, but before Tracy arrived, what were you hoping that we would learn, or that we would gain, or that how she might whip me into shape?
That's exactly what I was hoping for.
Do tell. I'm okay with this.
Well, I definitely was weary of being told what I should let go of, because I feel like I do a pretty good job of letting go of stuff. Really sentimental items from my family or my childhood, I may have a harder time with. But anything from like the age 18 and up is pretty easy for me to let go.
Fair game. And what would you say about for me?
It's a struggle. Yeah, I don't know how to talk about it without.
So what she's saying politely is she doesn't know how to talk about it without knocking me down a notch or two. I would say that I am quite a sentimental guy, but I do tend to hold on to probably, I'm not a clutter fudge, but I do tend to hold on to things more than I need to. I do tend to hold on to more duplicates or triplicates. I have associated some sort of a value. That charger has a value that I paid for. Why would I let that go? Even though I realize that everything has an energy behind it. And it's not that I'm not willing to let go, but like we had a long discussion today about car chargers, I just wanted to check which one is the best of the bunch, even though I know that there is an energy and a time cost to it. And really, I don't have that time to allocate the resources. So I was hoping that when Tracy came, she would help me to be able to prioritize better on what to keep and what not to keep, and then to get a better idea to wrap our minds around the space. And I have watched you over the last week or so, since this was actually about a week ago that she was here, I have watched you work magic on the RV, and that'll be for a future show, but you have worked magic on the RV to turn it into, I'll call it an oasis. It's a Fiji oasis. It's a cool place that you're designing or crafting right now.
We moved from Bali to Fiji?
I thought it was a Bali theme.
You just said Fiji.
Well, they may be 5,000 or more kilometers apart.
I don't know. All I know is it's a tropical theme.
Gotcha. So you hope to gain her helping me prioritize, and anything else?
No, that's it.
So you really had her here so that she would whip me into shape.
Yeah, but I haven't seen it yet. Because I'm still going through the boxes by myself.
Wow. Stay tuned, everyone.
But I think when we're back at the storage units, and that's where the real work is going to be coming into play. I think we're gonna have a deadline. We're only there for a finite amount of time, and we have the goal of getting down to one storage unit.
One larger
climate control storage unit. So that means selling / perhaps donating 2 cars and emptying out 2 other storage units.
And we did, you'll see, I'm getting ahead of myself, but excuse me. One of our prized possessions is our tandem. And I'm going, well, if we're in 2 storage units, and we'll be talking about it more in the show, do I get to keep the tandem? I would take it with us. If I could find a way to strap the tandem on to everything, I would take it with us for us to ride. I think that'd be cool and fun. I just can't wrap my mind around how to do that yet, but maybe there is a way. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be.
All right.
Yeah.
So, well, what I was most excited about in having Tracy here, it made it easier to let go. It made it easier to prioritize. It made it easier. So earlier today, you're saying, Michael, you don't have time to go through the plugs. I'm just taking them away.
Mm-hmm.
And what I said on the inside, I didn't say anything on the outside because I was busy getting ready for a show. No,
No silent screams.
No, what I said on the inside is, all right, I surrender. And there's going to be a lot of surrender coming up. And I think she gave me that power of surrender.
Oh.
A lot of, I'd really like to hold on to this. Okay, let it go. And I have been, to my patting myself on the back, I have been donating more. I have been taking more out of the closet. I have been letting go of a lot more.
COVID. Who's this?
This is Ruru the Rooster at Ruru the Rooster.
Excellent. Is Ruru getting ready to go on the road?
Absolutely.
As is Inspire Nation.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, I'm super happy to be here and help you on this journey.
I am so excited. And since you're calling it a journey, that really is what it feels like it is.
Excellent. So I think today we want to talk about what you actually need to take on the road,
Yep.
what you don't need, what to get you organized.
Exactly.
Maybe talk about some of the storage units you have around the country.
Oh, thank you.
And if you need to let go of that, like how can we really free you up so that you can be completely present on your trip?
Woohoo!
Yay! And roosters too. Oh my God, he's so handsome.
Hi everyone, Michael Sandler here. We are at our home where we're at our retreat center just outside Joshua Tree, where we're here for just a few short weeks before we head out on the road on Grace the RV. I have Tracy McCubbin here, the last declutterer expert that you will ever need. She is the creator and the founder and the owner of declutterfly.com. She also has one of the most amazing books on decluttering. And so welcome, Tracy. So excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Michael. It's so nice to be here in person and Jessica and to get you ready for this exciting journey. I'm so excited for you.
Woohoo!
I think we're both excited and a little scared about letting some stuff go.
Yeah. So you reached out. We'd met before we'd done your podcast, and you reached out to say, like, we're kind of hitting a wall about what we need to take, what we need to leave behind. So kind of talk to me about where you're at with getting ready to get on the road with your stuff.
Well, first off, I'm looking at my wife, who her name is Jessica Lee, but she also goes by Pookie, and really she's been upgraded to the Pook Star. And she really has been the star of helping organize everything. As I say, I'm running the show, and she would say, yeah, you're just trying to get out of things.
Okay, let's go. All right, now we see where the balance of the work is. Okay.
So a lot of stuff has been put into order, or at least organized, and we have some organized bins here today that we get to go through. A lot of it is seemingly easy, but some of it does have an emotional attachment, or even, I've got to be honest, we're bringing in the dough, but it still has a financial attachment to it. And if not a financial attachment, then a temporal, a time attachment to it as well.
Fantastic. So talk to me about these bins, because at first glance, it looks like you did the basic tenet of organizing. Looks like you put like with like. But talk me through this. Tell me what's going on in these bins.
So I went around the house and I started collecting things from random places. And for instance, this bin is full of hiking and outdoor activity supplies. This one is all cycling equipment. This one.
Wait, I just have to ask, you have bicycles, right?
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes people say to me, well, I have all this cycling equipment, but I don't have a bike yet.
It's a good question.
Not only do we have bicycles, we have 2 bicycles with us, and we have at least a half a dozen in Colorado, which we'll get to.
Okay, perfect.
This bin here is full of electronics and also some empty boxes, which I will let Michael address.
Yes, talk to me about empty boxes.
I've been taught by my dad, when you buy something, you take and you put the box in the closet in case you ever need it again, in case you need to return it or a warranty or any sort of situation. And so I treat the boxes like we just got a beautiful knife in for the kitchen. And Jessica's like, well, I've got the knife, I've got the sheath, I can throw the box away. And I'm like, it's such a nice box and it has a recessed place for the knife in it. And somebody went through all the time to make this nice thing that I just don't want to throw it away. And I do have issues with Mother Earth and throwing stuff away and wanting stuff to go to waste. So that figures in, maybe not so much the boxes, but that does figure into everything as well.
So this is a fantastic conversation. So one of the things that I say to people, like, this is my thing too. I mean, I think so much, you know, my grandma used to say, when you throw something away, where's away? Like, where does it go?
Exactly.
So you think about it and like, can I recycle it? Is it recyclable? But sometimes what happens when we hang on to the packaging of things because we don't want to put it in the landfill, we just make our home a landfill. Like,
so we get to talk to you about the plastic bags because of COVID, nobody is taking the bottom of your bag, say, take to a recycle center.
Yeah.
And when we've been doing the COVID pick up your groceries outside, they make you get bags, but they won't take them back now.
yeah, I know. I have to admit, I'm storing mine till post-COVID world because I just can't do it. So, but that also brings up a really interesting point of that when you invite objects into your life, so when you buy something, you become responsible for them and you become responsible for the packaging. So sometimes, you know, it's like, when we used to stop at stores, I'd be like, yeah, I don't need the box, you know? So, and you also have to think this through. This is a great point. You were taught by your dad, when you buy something, you keep the box in case you want to return it. But look at your own life historically. Like, a lot of stuff you can return now, you put it in different packaging. Like, when you take it all out of the packaging, you can't ever get it back in. So if you have to send it back, you have to repackage it.
And there is, because I tend to look in my coaching work and all my work, I'm looking many layers deep. There is some sort of an emotional wound here, which is a lack of commitment. And so I'm buying something and I'm not sure if it's the right one or what I'm going to do with it. And so I'm afraid to take, and it has happened. And it always happens to all of us, the Murphy's Law. You throw the box away and then it's the next day you realize you need something else. Yeah. And so there's a commitment issue that I get to lean into.
Right. And so I would say to you, what's really interesting about that is that sometimes the right choice is just to make a choice.
Amen to that.
Like, is it the perfect knife? Probably not. Is the perfect knife out there? Probably not, right? Like, we have to, when we acquire things, we have to say like, all right, you know what? This is as good as it is. This works for right now. This works for a long time.
Perfect for now.
Perfect for now. And then I'm going to use it. And so sometimes that journey of like looking for the perfect thing, I call that the make work of clutter. Like, you keep yourself busy because I'm looking for something else. I'm looking for the next dopamine hit. I want to get the deal. I want to find the thing, right? I mean, I know you're an extreme athlete, so I know that you get that kind of rush from biking, you know.
Usually not extreme shopping, though.
Well, I gotta say, you've mentioned to me a couple times that you like to get things on sale.
I still do, yes.
It's the same dopamine hit. What you get from your extreme athleting and extreme sports, you get from shopping. Putting things in the Amazon cart, package showing up, getting something on sale. It's the same thing. So if you can make that correlation and go, oh, actually, I want to get that, but I want to get it from riding my mountain bike.
Couldn't agree more.
So I think we don't realize the what's happening in our brain when we shop. Like, we just don't make that correlation. So I always tell people a great place to start, because everyone's like, oh, I need a new pair of jeans. Oh, I need a new this. I need a new that. No, you want. I can guarantee you have plenty of jeans. I can guarantee you've got more than you could ever live with. So when we make that switch to say like, no, I just want it. And then sometimes the want goes away.
It's why I actually drive my wife crazy, because I buy so little clothing because I watch this dopamine. And then she's like, you're looking kind of, what would you say? Disheveled?
Shabby.
Shabby chic without the chic.
Exactly. No
Right.
chic.
Right. Well, but you guys are downsizing to a really small life, right? Like, you really have to, everything has to be useful. Everything has to be double duty. You know, you need to start to have some shirts that if you end up somewhere and visiting somebody and they say, come over for dinner, that you don't, you know, you're not just in a t-shirt. So you have to start thinking that things are in multiples, that they have multiple uses. So you mentioned something about time management pre your trip. Talk to me about that.
Well, we run our own business. Actually, I kind of bow down before my wife, who really runs the whole business here. But with that said, There are multiple components. There's the component of getting on the road. There's
Yep.
the component of currently running our business. There's the component of setting up, which is a third entity, setting up our business to be mobile, which is different than moving,
Right.
but is how are you going to run logistics on the road? And so then you look at items that, well, does this item need to be returned? Does it need to be sold? Does it need to be donated? Are you going to have the time to set this item up, or are you just going to have to walk away from this item? And what is that time cost? And I'm running into some challenges with time cost with some items that I really love, but have a high time cost rather than dollar cost. Go, Tracy.
So my book, Making Space Clutter Free, I talk about these things that are called the 7 emotional clutter blocks.
Mm-hmm.
They are stories that we have made up in our heads about why we can't let go of things we don't want, need, or use. And clutter block number 7 just happens to be the stuff I keep paying for. It's this story that we've written about why we can't let go of things. And sometimes that gets really wrapped up in, oh, I've got to sell this, right? Look, it is tough times right now. We have to be very conscious of how we spend our money and what we do. But sometimes if you have a lot of items that you're going to eBay or take to the consignment store or just return, and you don't have that, your time could be better spent, more profitably spent doing something else. It's like you kind of have to do the math and go, okay, I can make X amount of dollars in my business, and this is gonna earn me $20.
Yeah.
So it's, it's hard to walk away from money, but time is our most important commodity.
It's interesting. And did you want to jump in here?
Well, I'm just thinking, okay, so maybe there's a cutoff. So if we have an item that's worth $2,000,
Yes.
then that is worth putting on eBay and selling, but something that's like $100 or less, maybe not worth
That's
it.
a great litmus test. Like, make a cutoff for yourself. You're like $50 or less. Like, this is worth $50 to photograph it, list it. Like, that's such a good way to put it. This is a great, like, this is the amount. This is what I tell people when they want to have garage sales. Right? They're like, I'm gonna have a garage sale. It's not about money. For that, it comes out time. I'm like, okay, give yourself 2 months. If you haven't had that garage sale in 2 months, donate it all. So I think if you gave yourself, here's the amount, this is worth it, but you also have to figure out, you're trying to get on the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're trying to get on the road. So you're like, I have to prioritize this. And when you run your own business, or when you're raising a family, or, all the things, you have to build in, I call it the business of life. The admin of my life. Like, I've got to go to Target and return these things. I've got to do this. So I think when you guys are getting ready to go on this big trip, you've got to be really conscious about time management.
It's so true.
The key to happiness.
We were at a retail store return center a few weeks ago, and we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting, and I'm going, this just is not worth it.
Yeah.
Just to take it and donate it would have been worth more.
But we did enjoy our time waiting in line because we danced.
We
And
are colorful, and we brought smiles to everybody around us. The person in front of us was ready to melt down, and he literally said, this is my worst day ever.
Well, and here's a really interesting thing about donating, and I talk about this a lot, and I talk about this in the book. We have to trust that when we let go of something, when we donate it, when we give it away, it's going to end up with the person who needs it the most.
We get to bless it.
Yes, you get to thank it, and you need to let it go. And I could tell you story after story of things have ended up in the hands of people who needed them. It's fantastic. And there's a big, I don't know if you guys know, there are these Buy Nothing groups now on Facebook. Have you seen these?
No.
So Buy Nothing groups, people in their area. So when you traveling around, get to another area, they put up things, and it's people trade and people spend no money. And so those are a really great way to let go of stuff.
I like trades.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So that might be a great avenue for you as you're on your road and you connect with people in areas that you go to. You join the Buy Nothing group, give something away, pick something up. So time management is an interesting, as much as being organized about your stuff, it's time management.
We have, and it's kind of jumping ahead, and maybe we'll get there in a little bit. We've been on quite the journey, and it's, in a sense, it feels a little bit, it's not a fair term to use, but I'm going to throw it out there for what it's worth. Feels like a little bit like we're refugees, because when the fires came back to Colorado and COVID came back to Colorado, we were basically cast out. We had to leave, and we had to leave everything behind. Now we're going back to storage units. We have one that is climate controlled. We have two that are not climate controlled. And then we have a bigger one that has a car. Maybe we'll even discuss the car that we purchased for an RV, but we went with it's a whole story. We have a car that we couldn't tow behind us that we bought for towing. That we have to that we haven't used it. We're making payments on a car that's in a storage unit that we don't drive.
That you're also paying to store.
Exactly. Yeah. And then her, I'm going to call it her childhood car.
It's the first car I ever bought, but I am ready to let go of it. We ran out of time.
Right. So a couple things. This is so exciting. This is going to be a important exercise to do. Do the math so that when you get to Colorado, you know how much you're spending a month on those storage units. You know the hard cost of them.
Oh, she can tell you that to the penny this second.
Right. So
and every second we haven't emptied them.
Right. So this is going to be your first stop.
Yes.
So as you're driving to Colorado, 12 hours, we know how.
I guess we so far it looks like we'll be able to stop in Vegas for a few days because we have a rooster and he really wants to walk the strip. And I am not kidding about that one.
Oh, please tell me the rooster plays roulette. Please tell me the rooster can pick the winning number. Please.
We have not tried going
That's a
in
great
to
idea.
see if we can go in or not, or if we'll get the boot. We've got to try that and see what happens.
Go to one of the lowbrow ones.
I was going highbrow. You
or take them straight to Caesars or
the Wynn or Bellagio. I mean, you got to go.
I mean, it's
top
Vegas.
Shelf.
If anywhere in the world you can take a rooster in to play roulette, it has got to be. Oh please call me. I'll fly to Vegas to see that.
He could be an Egyptian rooster. Take him into the Luxor.
There you go. But so
gold around his neck.
Oh, I love it. As you're driving, start to think about this stuff in the storage unit. What have you missed and what haven't you missed? That's the first thing. What have you not even thought about? What have you,
I got to be honest here.
Okay.
For myself, and I need your take on this. For myself, out of sight isn't just out of mind. It's gone. I can live without it. But as soon as I have issues with this, as soon as I then see that, But this reminds me. Everything is a reminder. And Jessica, she's better at me. She will take photos of things so she can let go of it.
Right.
But I am a very kinesthetic, touchy-feely. I want to hold on to it. Okay, so we're talking about storage units. I haven't even gone into how it brings me to my knees, buckles me, and makes me cry, like a crying little sissy girl. But nothing against anybody, but I fall apart in storage units. So we probably get to address that, but you said you had a bunch of things that you want to talk about before then.
Yeah, I want to talk about storage. So there's a cost, right? There's a hard cost to this storage. There's money to be made, right? Because you're paying for things. You're literally paying for something. You're paying to store something you're paying for. So that's a double whammy. So there's a very practical economic reason. And then there's the emotional, which we'll get to. And then the bigger picture is, what's the vision for your life? What's the vision? You guys have bought this RV, you're hitting the road, you want to inspire as many people as you can. Feels like you want to lighten your load, right? So does having storage align with that vision?
I would say no.
Okay. Or having as much storage. It may be some. 4 units is, even if they're small, that's a lot of storage.
I think one climate controlled small storage unit would do the job, because there are things like photos that from before, digital photos that I haven't had a chance to scan and create digital archives of, and there's a few really sentimental items that I don't think I would ever part with if I had a choice.
Right. So and if you can afford it, if in your budgeting you're like, one small storage unit, that's a great goal. That totally makes sense. That's we can do this, we can afford this. This doesn't, this is this, and this aligns with our vision. Now, Michael, let's talk about your storage unit buckling you.
Well, okay, first going back to the climate controlled, we also have disk drives and things, digital storage that you
need to keep. Yeah, of course. And that's a very reason, that's that feels, if you had hired me and you said, we want to do this, I'm like, that makes sense. That seems very practical. So you said, I think off camera, you said to me that when you see the things, right, that the memories come flooding back.
Here's what happens. So let's go to one that I haven't even discussed with Jessica. And so I'll get in trouble for this one. But why not I get on trouble on it? I was a professional cyclist. I raced in Europe. I have almost no gear left from that time period in my life. One thing that I do have is a sweater jacket that has the name of the team on it. But an ex-girlfriend overseas had worn it. And so I never want to wear this thing. But it's just about the only thing I have left of my days over there. And so it both creeps me out and I haven't let go. The good thing is I'm saying it on air, so she's going to burn this thing as soon as we get out to it.
So this is an interesting thing because sounds like a not good memory, right? An ex that you want to
It is not a good memory, but the cycling was.
Right. So exactly. So there's a part of the memory that you want to keep. Here's the thing about that stuff. You don't want the stuff. You want the feeling. You want the feeling of what it was when you rode in that team, what it was like to be traveling the world and in a bike thing, which is great. So if you can't take a photo of it, which is enough for you, can you cut the team logo out and like just take a part of it? Is there a patch that's a part of it so that you don't see the entity that the X wore, but a part of it that reminds you of the cycling part?
In theory, I could cut part out of it and make it put it on the wall. But Jessica is now saying, I want to burn this thing.
No, I'm not.
She's actually not. Okay. You're saying she's saying
all right.
that.
So yes, I could do
something.
something.
You may want her to be saying that, but
I could do some sort of downsizing on that. So here, let's replay Michael's life.
Okay.
I love where I am. I love what I'm doing. This, meaning with Jessica, is beyond my wildest dreams, really is. When I look back at my life, and I may be beyond that now because I've done so much clearing work, but I don't know. When I look back, I'll look at a time period in my life and go, that didn't go as I planned. Mm-hmm. The next period didn't go as I planned. The next period. And all of those periods are in the storage unit as ghosts, as hauntings, as demons, waiting to say, you blew it. You weren't, you didn't live the life. And look at you now. I always hear David Byrne in my head. And I'm not sure if the name of the song is Same as It Ever Was. But he says, how does it go? Whose is this beautiful house? Who is this beautiful wife? My God, what have I done? And when I go into a storage unit, I felt like I've ruined my life. And I feel so bad and horrible, and I lived such an amazing life. But becomes a haunting, which is why many of these possessions aren't just in the storage unit in Colorado. They're in the storage unit in Colorado, that was in a storage unit in North Carolina, that was in a garage in New Jersey, that was in a storage unit in California, or in a storage unit in Maui, and they keep chasing me down because I haven't had the chutzpah to deal with them.
I just read something fascinating about trauma, about reframing how you look at trauma. That to say like, oh, I went through all this stuff. The first thing that you said is you are so happy with where you are right now. You're so happy with your life. You're so happy with Jessica. But maybe you couldn't have gotten to here and right now if you hadn't been through all that stuff.
I will not disagree on a logical level with anything that you're saying. And like I said, I may have done enough work that I've taken care of it. I've done so much work on this. But it might not be. Historically, prior to now, and you would say I have definitely evolved a lot over the last few years.
Definitely.
And when I put more stuff into storage this fall, it didn't trigger me, which I took note. And I said, that's interesting.
Yeah. That's great.
But now I have to decide keep or not keep. And that will be taking my game to a whole new level.
I guess I would invite you to look at like, why do you want to keep beating yourself up?
I don't.
Well, then let it go. There you go. You don't. You just said it. You don't. You said all the key things. You're happy with your life. You're happy with Jessica. You don't want to keep beating yourself up. So free yourself. Make space for what matters. So you are deep and stuck in clutter block number 1. Yep. My stuff keeps me stuck in the past. You're holding onto all these things that make you feel bad, that remind you of what you think are failures, that you've interpreted as failures. what it does is it keeps you looking backwards and not looking forward. You have so much to look forward to. You and Jessica have this amazing life. You're inspiring all these people. Like Robert Bly talks about the big black bag that you carry around. Those storage units are your big black bag of trauma. Feels to me that this is the time to like let it go and look forward. There's so much exciting stuff.
So Jessica said, and maybe you can repeat that
if you didn't know about what was thrown away, you'd be okay with it.
Totally and completely, minus I had a period of my life where I was not really a professional photographer, but I did have landscape shots in a few galleries, amazing sunrise and sunset photos. I don't know what to do with these. Boulder, Colorado years ago wanted to take them and keep them at their municipal gyms. That was a decade ago. So now I'm carrying these around. Those do have...
But we've decided there's going to be one climate control storage
True.
unit. So photographs, thin, small, big, but...
18 by 24 framed.
Okay. Yeah, how many?
20.
Okay. I mean, it can fit in the climate control. That I understand. Or you
but the rest
or you
of it,
unframe them.
I would love to. This is not fair, maybe. But I would love to abdicate responsibility and not even know it existed. Other than maybe even the bicycles can go away. I can upgrade bicycles later on.
Could you take this on without him? You could.
I could.
That's not fair to her.
It makes me very angry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because you got to be responsible.
That brings up the whole D word.
I already
You see her face? It's turning brilliant.
Yeah. No, it's
fire red here.
Yeah, you need to be accountable for your stuff.
Absolutely.
This is your stuff. This is your mess, technically. So
it's stuff from before our time together.
Oh yeah, So is there a middle ground? Can you hire someone to help you so she doesn't have to do it, or do you just put your big girl pants on and do it yourself?
I think that's why I booked a week in Colorado.
Yeah,
those big boy pants are going on.
I think this calls for some big girl pants. Actually, I think you got it. I think you're ready. I think you're really ready. I think you're going to be less triggered than you think. You realize that you can't. This idea that if you knew it went away and it was gone, that's your mantra. That's your mantra.
So what do you do? Let's
and then
go
you
into...
put me on speed dial.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm going to go to bicycles that are worth either a lot of money if I take the time on eBay, a little money at the local sporting goods store, or I give away, and I have all this type of equipment.
What's more valuable to you right now, money or time?
Well, time.
Then you take
that's why I've left it there.
Right. Then you take them to the bicycle shop and you get a little bit of money, or you get, they have all those like bike kitchens where people fix bikes for free. I mean, Boulder's like a full bike town. Oh my golly, there's some college kid that needs that. Time is more valuable to you than money right now. That's your other mantra.
I'm sorry. I'm stuck thinking about the tandem now. I'm going, we want to ride this thing. There's no way that wouldn't really fit in a controlled storage unit. There's no room to fit it on the RV to bring it across the country. We do want to upgrade. So I'm going to specific items that are right on the edge of what we do with them. And I'm going there now because I'm trying to put myself in the position of, okay, I get out to Colorado. I've got my big golden with the girl pants on, which doesn't fit. I'm going to look a little like Richard Simmons here. But I get to something like the tandem, which we loved and helped Jessica to heal from mold toxicity. We'd love to get another tandem in the future. This isn't quite the perfect tandem.
Stop.
But
Stop. It's not quite the perfect tandem.
Yeah.
Your life is not set up to have a tandem bike right now.
No.
Doesn't mean that you won't have a tandem bike in the future.
Correct.
This is not the perfect tandem. Let it go. Thank it for what it did to heal Jessica. Stop paying to think about the money you'll save on storage that you
hopefully
can.
People can
Yes, but.
Hopefully people can learn from my yes buts.
Uh-huh.
My mind goes to the yes, but I just bought brand new expensive wheels for it. Yes, but I just upgraded this. Yes, but.
Again.
It sounds silly.
No, it's not. This is clutter block number 7, the stuff I keep paying for. That we make these financial investments and we think we have to hang on to the stuff because we did this when the stuff no longer serves us. So you keep paying for it. And sometimes you just have to say, yep, that happened. I put new tires on that bike. Whoever I sell it to is going to be stoked. I have to be grateful for my prosperity and move it along. The tandem bike does not fit with your vision right now.
And that new equipment raises the value so we can sell it for more.
There you go. See? Tandem bike gone.
I will take on this challenge. I will keep you on speed dial. And I am convinced, because I can step several layers back from myself. So I can hear the silliness even playing this, but I am watching.
Not silly. It's not silly. It's training. It's upbringing. It's deep. This is psychological. People think that that's the thing that's amazing about our stuff. It comes to us meaningless. It's just a shoe. Mm-hmm. And then we go, but this is the shoe that I rode the first time Jessica and I went on a mountain bike together. I remember what she was wearing. I remember how she looked. This shoe is so important.
Now I'm never going to let go of this shoe.
We put all this meaning on it so we can take all the meaning away and go, it's just a shoe, not the shoe that fits right now. I'm kind of excited.
I'm hopeful.
Is there anything you can think of in the storage unit that you can tell, other than figuring out what to do with the darn car? Maybe we'll get there. But can you think of anything that might be a trigger for me? Because I literally cannot remember what's in a storage unit. I know we bought like a brand new mattress.
You have a lot of stuffed animals from before our time together, and I think some of them are from ex-girlfriends.
I can get rid of those. I can definitely get rid of those.
There's a reason there's an X in front of the girlfriend. That's all I'm saying.
What about a brand new mattress that we only used for a few months, and then
that you put on a buy nothing group? You can't donate them. You can't. I mean, you can maybe sell them for $50, but there's going to be somebody, if you put it on the Boulder Buy Nothing group, someone will take it. Someone needs a mattress, like really needs a mattress.
So anything else? Any other triggers that you can think of?
All of the books, the thousands of books that you read for the podcast.
I have had a vision of having a beautiful library. Mm-hmm. Me, cardigan, pipe, stuffy room, ladder that slides along. Yeah. Because I have read, and we were doing 7 shows a week at the beginning. I read a book a day. And so I have this massive collection, which if you step me back from it, I can part with it, no problem. Mm-hmm. If you then put me in front of them, I want to hold on to them. And
I have to say that Tracy's book is also included.
Oh!
So do we need to, I did alphabetize them, and I did mark which authors were in each box.
Can you, before we dive into this, can you say what we actually did manage to do with books with a capital B, with like 5, 6, 7,000 of them before we left for here?
So way before we launched Inspire Nation, the podcast, we ran a business that taught people about barefoot running and barefoot walking. And our first book that we wrote together was called Barefoot Running. And we had thousands of copies of this book because we sold the rights to Random House. And part of the agreement was that we couldn't sell our old copies.
Right.
So we were trying to give them away for free, but we ran out of opportunities to give away thousands of books away. So we had them in storage for many years until last summer when we donated all of them. We took them to the Salvation Army.
And people who were interested in barefoot running found those books. Yeah. That's great. Mm-hmm. That's great. Yeah, I mean, books, my book's available on Kindle. I'm not so precious about books because now you can get them as audiobooks. You can get them as Kindle. You can recreate that library. I can tell you as an author, if in 3 years from now, you and Jessica landed somewhere and you bought a house and you said, I have my dream library, I would happily send you another copy of my book.
Thank you.
I would rather send you a copy of a book than have you pay for storage.
There you go.
I will part with the books.
Wow.
And we have it now for...
Yes. Yeah. The tandem...
Can I break? We have it for you. My promise. The fourth wall.
So, let's talk about what you're getting wrapped around the axles about. You have such limited space on the RV, right? So what... Of all this stuff, What are some things that maybe Jessica's like, we don't need to bring this, and you're like, no, we need to bring this, or that it's on the chopping block? Let's kind of talk through that.
Okay, for me, it's boxes. It's boxes that are empty except for some manuals. And well, let's see what's in this box. Okay, there's an SD card. We can keep the SD card.
Right. SD card can go in a little file with
Thank you.
SD card.
Ooh, and that's a key to take out a. So these little key things we can take out and keep so that
Is that another one?
Yep.
Great. Now, manuals, aren't these all available online?
That's what she tells me.
Yep. So this is literally clutter.
Except, well, there's a case. There's a phone case there.
Right. Do you have the, wait, before we go any further, do you have this phone?
Yes.
Do you use it?
Yes, until I upgrade. At some point I will upgrade. So that's what's happening here.
Right.
So I can see the thing, which is if I know that I'm going to be holding on to it, I'm totally okay now letting go of the box.
Right.
But cell phones, I do tend to upgrade.
And then do you sell the old ones?
Yeah, historically, yes.
Okay. Okay.
So, but the question is, the last one I didn't, right?
You didn't. It's here, in fact. Here it is.
Right. So you're living a different kind of life, right?
Yes.
Your mobile space is an absolute premium. This is a pair of flip-flops. This is a pair of shoes, right? So
That's a good point.
Is it an empty box or they're a pair of shoes that you want? Like you have to really start thinking down about, in the past, maybe you would have sold things, but you're not going to have the time. You're not going to, so maybe we let it go.
That's where the challenge lies, because I'm looking at this and I'm watching the challenges we've had actually with my phone lately and the battery cutting off quickly. And I'm going, is it time?
How much is this worth?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, it's a good question because this goes back to my eBay days. A phone with a box is actually worth a lot more than a phone. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, but there was something in that sentence you said, go back to my eBay days.
Absolutely.
So I think that, to me, that says that you're past your eBay days, that your life is in a different place and that eBaying is not as significant as it used to be.
And also, this phone is from 2018.
Yeah.
It's 2021.
Yeah.
How many people are buying 3-year-old phones?
Probably a lot, actually.
Okay,
for a lot of money?
This is where due diligence. Right? This is where due diligence comes in.
I will have to do my due diligence.
Yeah, and you need to just
do
on
research
and go on eBay and see what it sold for. That's the amazing thing. You can figure out if these phones are even selling.
Yeah. So then that gets to a cost-benefit analysis.
Yep.
At which point, so for instance, can I have one of those LED lights? We bought these LED lights for the car that we get to sell that we were going to tow behind the RV that didn't work out. It cost about, I don't know, $120
Per light.
per light.
Uh-huh.
And is it worth taking the time to throw it up on eBay or not? It's brand new.
Right. I mean, yeah. So the first step I would do is I would look and see what they're selling for on eBay, if they're selling on eBay, right? So you go and check, sold, and then you take the dollar amount, right? We talked earlier about establishing if we can get X and higher, $50, $75, whatever your dollar amount is. If you can get more than that, then you're willing to send it. But you also have to remember, are you willing to give up space on the RV to drag that around?
It sounds silly. What I've been hoping to do, which didn't happen, was I think it was last weekend, to make it an eBay weekend. Uh-huh. And instead there was other packing jobs that we had to do. So part of it is I have to find a way to guard a weekend to put up what I can. I do need to get to, and then we get to do it. How do we determine the cost benefit or I'm thinking of a high jumper, the bar.
Right.
How do we determine what bar above which we sell and what bar we let go?
I think you have to personally decide, like, is this worth $100 to me? What's my time worth? How much time do we have left? Is it worth, it takes a while to eBay it. You said you need a whole weekend to do it. I know you have some big ticket items you want to sell, so you can roll through that, but you've got to sell it. You've got to ship it. Mm-hmm. You've got to, if it doesn't sell by the time you leave, you got to drag it around with you to sell it. It's not just, you've got to do all that. So you have to do my suggestion is take all the items in the box, and in less than an hour, I bet you could determine their value that they're selling. Start there. And then if you're like, oh, this is a bunch of $25 things, that's not worth my time, I'm going to let them go.
I just had an idea. We have a team member in Colorado very close
Bing,
to
bing, 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 bing.
the storage unit.
Delegate.
So, exactly.
Delegate.
We could give her this box and ask her to eBay it for us.
That's an amazing time management skill, right? Something that you want done, give her a cut of it, or if she's on an hourly, pass off. You don't have, those of us who are entrepreneurs and run our own businesses, we are so used to doing everything ourselves that we that's how we brought it up. I mean, I was the first one to show up and the last one there with the trash bag, and the donations were stuffed in my car. And as your business grows, you have to start to delegate. So that's a perfect, but I still think you should do a little bit of research to see if it's even worth it.
Sounds good. What are another hot...
Okay.
We're just going to go with items that drive you nuts. How's that?
Keeping things in boxes. We do still use them, but do they need to live in the box?
Well, this is going to be decided by the space that you have in the RV. Sometimes things that are funny shapes like this, they actually stay. Like I keep my microphone and my headphones in the box because when I have a shelf that they go on, and then I can just put them away, pull them out, put them back. So that's going to determine where these live. If not, you can be like, oh, maybe I just get a soft case. So that's that sometimes you're going to have to really look at the space that you have in the RV. What else?
We've got more boxes.
Michael.
I want to be able to say I can get rid of one. Okay, so this is
a box for the camera that is currently filming us.
Right. When you're done filming, do you put it back in the box?
We haven't because this house is stationary, but we might do that when we're on the road.
So this is a good decision for when you're traveling, but it also might be better to put it in a little carrying case. This box has a big footprint compared to the camera. The camera's this big, right? The camera's this big. This is a big footprint. That's what you have to start thinking of. Is this space worth it to give up for the box? I know, Michael. I know in your heart of hearts you're like, but that's a really nice box.
No, I'm okay letting go of this box.
Okay, so
I'm interested and curious of where things are going to go, but no, I'm okay getting rid of that box. The cell phone ones makes a little bit more sense to keep. The headphones, I don't know how to keep them neatly if it's not in a box. But per our discussion today, I think I've surrendered if it's not something that I immediately think I might be upgrading. Exactly.
So it's really, for you, the attachment to the stuff is a time monetary. So can you pass it? Is it worth your time? Is it worth your time? Because there are a lot of people that, selling that stuff, that's going to make a big difference to them. But be realistic about what you can get for it.
It's interesting as you go up, people who are, we'll say, new millionaires still may have old habits but this is, and I got here because. And so letting go of that, it's. I don't know if it's a lack of abundance, a lack of an abundance mindset or a poverty mindset, but we still have these ways of being, habits that may have helped us and served us in the past.
Warren Buffett doesn't buy a new car. Warren Buffett drives used cars. So there's a lot of practicality to it. But what I'm saying is that when are you sacrificing space, time? There's a certain point where that frugality. I mean, look, I'm Scottish. I can be pretty frugal, right? There's
She's wanted me to run in a kilt.
Right, but there's all of a sudden there's a time where that stuff starts, it tips over. You stop owning your stuff and your stuff starts owning you. Yes. That's the filter you need to be running through, especially because you're going to be moving into an RV where space is absolute premium. So yes, some old habits, and we want to be mindful and we want to be frugal and we want to be all those things, but there's a tipping point and you'll feel it. Jessica will feel it first.
Anything else we should go over?
Multiples of the same thing with slight variations. Michael's got 4 cycling booties.
I thought you said it was 5 pairs.
Is it 5?
We have 1 pair.
Okay, I didn't know.
We have 2 pair. We have 3 pair. We have 4 pair. We have 5 pair. And then I think those are
not cycling booties.
Not cycling booties.
Okay, so you have 5 pairs. Do they do the same thing pretty much?
I don't know because I tend to not want to go out in bad weather.
And my work is done. and my work is literally done.
These are the coolest pair. I just bought these last year. They're bright.
But I know, but you just said you don't like to go out in bad weather.
I know.
So you get one pair. One pair is reasonable.
Well,
5 pairs is unreasonable.
Here's my thinking.
Yes, but
Winter cold weather pair and a rain weather pair.
2 pairs. Great.
All right.
Done and dusted. Yay! We're humans. We're meaning-making machines, right? We can make a story up about anything. So we can talk ourselves into keeping anything, buying anything. You have to run everything through the filter of the vision of what you want your life to be right now. How are you going to best inspire people, like dragging another trailer behind your RV or being free and touching as many people's lives as possible? So you start with your vision and then you run all your stuff through does this support the vision of my life?
I like it. Any last things that you wanted to cover? Duplicates, backpacks. Oh, we could do like the green thing. Let's do the green thing.
The random thing that always seems nice to have.
Is this you put it in the microwave and it
I think you could.
Is it one of those like, is it buckwheat?
I don't know what it's made out of.
I think it's
It was
buckwheat.
a Christmas
This is
gift.
too cool.
Yeah,
I didn't even
and
know
you
you
put
put
it
it
in
too
the, you
warm.
can put it in the microwave.
So now you've added value. All I know is when I wear this thing, it really feels good on my shoulders. But I didn't even know that I owned it for the last 6 months until she pulled it out
Here,
and
hand
said,
it to
let's
me.
get rid of it.
Hand it to me. Hand me that Sony box. Hand me that Sony box. About the same footprint. Green thing, empty Sony box.
I guess we keep the green thing.
There we go. Perfect. Yay.
What about bags? And this is something that I struggle with and probably a lot of women struggle with. I love nice backpacks.
Yeah, it's not a gender issue. Everybody loves them. It's again about replicating. It's again about duplicates. You know, you are simplifying your life. You are downsizing. Here's the good news. They will never stop making great backpacks. They will exist in the world. You're moving into a different kind of life. So you're not stationary. You don't have the ability to store 3, 4, 5 backpacks. I would say you get 2 in case one breaks. But remember, there's always going to be backpacks.
It's true.
There's always going to be backpacks. You're going to do a podcast and somebody's going to be sponsored by a backpack company. Backpacks, they are not a limited resource.
Very good.
So again, run it through your filter. Is this space worth it? 2 seems reasonable to me. 1 breaks, then you've got a second one.
Thank you. Anything else you want to cover? I want to get on the RV so we can get you on the road.
I think that's a great start. I think we have the tools and the knowledge to go through the rest of the stuff and decide what comes with us and what gets donated or sold.
Yay!
So we are outside now in Grace 43, almost 44-foot RV. It has a studio in it, has a large-ish kitchen, minor size living room, king size-ish bedroom. We're out here with Tracy. I'm thinking about, as she was walking around, as we looked at the storage outside, she was saying no multiples, which I didn't tell her that we had his and her matching Saucony backpacks. and I'm guessing that has got to go. So I'm speechless watching you walk around knowing that we're in trouble.
First of all, Grace is beautiful.
Thank
This
you.
is such an exciting journey. Like, I'm so excited for you guys. Space is going to be a premium like you've never known it before. So you have to really think about things that do double duty, right? You have to think about, there's no more juice glasses, water glasses, wine glasses. It's one glass.
All right, so I already have a question,
Sure.
and I'm jumping in.
Okay.
We have a rice cooker,
Mm-hmm.
and we have an Instapot.
Nope.
But
One
they
of-
do separate things.
But okay, well, let me ask you, they do separate things. How often do you use them?
Every few days.
Both of them? Every few days?
Not both of them.
The rice cooker. Which one do you use more?
The rice cooker, the Instant Pot in the winter.
That I would, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. Do you have a blender?
Yes.
And a juicer.
But they do different things.
And we use them daily.
You do. You juice daily.
Uh-huh.
So Okay, so there's gonna come a time you're gonna have to, what do they say in editing? You know, you're gonna have to kill your darlings in writing.
And then we have a Gourmia, which is like
We do everything.
a do everything air fryer.
Okay, so this brings me to, you've just made my point for me. So these two cabinets, which are right prime real estate, you right now have full of books. You have full of books. So if you want all those appliances, a juicer, a blender, Instapot, a rice cooker, to me, you're going to have to move the books to Kindle. Also, where are you going to keep your food? So these are really nice tall cabinets, but if you notice, it's like there's all this dead space. So you may want to get some risers in here so that you can, as this become oils and vinegars and things like that? Like, you guys have to really drill down. And you're used to having an office. You're used to having reference materials. All that kind of stuff you're going to have to go digital on. And you may have to, with those unitaskers, those appliances that just do one thing, those take up a lot of space. So can you get a blender that you can also juice with?
Do they exist?
I don't know. I was just coming up with a crazy idea because I've never stood from this angle of these right here. Of can I get something that wraps around here so that I can hold things in it so they don't jump out?
Yeah, didn't you just like little netting like on a boat?
Which actually brings up a point. We have a lot of plants, and some of them are really dear to our heart, like swirl cactus. Mm-hmm. And looking at the space, and now we have competition between plants
and food.
Yes.
Also, can you cross some state lines with plants?
Well, they actually came from outside of California, and then when we were coming in, they just asked if we had any plants that were outdoors, and since they're indoor plants, they're okay.
Okay, so so that's going to be, you may have to
get the rabies shots.
Yeah, or you might have to get the ones that aren't your favorites adopted out. Space is a premium. Things like decor, things like sentimental items. You are really choosing a life that's about, what you do the most: eating, working, being productive. So some of those decor things, some of those plants, if it's olive oil versus a plant, I know Michael's like, I made a terrible mistake.
I'll take the plant. They're my babies.
Yeah. So what else in the kitchen are you concerned about, Jessica?
Well, you mentioned we're going to need space for storing food. Mm-hmm. And we do have space behind the camera that could be a pantry.
Okay.
But it's also right by the door, and it seems like you would put things that you would grab as you're heading out the door, right, instead of putting food there. So
to me, it feels like these would be good pantry and these would be good pantry. Mm-hmm. I see like a bigger space for the bigger appliances. You're also going to have to get yourself in the mindset of everything that you use, you take down and then you have to put away, right? That it's you're gonna have to move things. So you may want to consider getting some organizing bins so that things are easy to put up on a shelf and pull down. You may want to contain things so they're easier to wrangle. So you may want to corral things. You also might start to, again, we've talked about multiples a couple of times. For instance, if you have regular salt, garlic salt, onion salt, you're like, maybe I get one kind of salt. Like you may have to go down on that stuff, or you move to the smaller spice containers. You can decant your spices into smaller ones. Okay. So the days of shopping at Costco for huge amounts, those are, no more.
You're looking really excited.
No, it's just funny because I used to buy my spices in bulk, in big bags, and then I would put them into big jars like this because I would use a lot of spices in my cooking. But I'm open to going down to a little itty bitty.
Yeah, and I think you should do a test run on your kitchen. Like start to bring you those appliances that you use on a daily basis and put them, test like, the space is here. Like we said outside, you have a finite amount of space. So bring it in, and then you're going to, as the closer and closer to leaving, you're like, oh, wow, that's got to go.
What are other ways that we can do double duty in a kitchen?
Well, I think you need to look at what you're using, like for glasses, right? You know, I don't know if you have coffee mugs. You know, some people are like, oh, these are my teacups, these are my coffee cups. No more. You know, you get one for that. Looking at your plates, I would probably want to use melamine or plastic in here so they're lighter. So plates and bowls, and, you know, a serving bowl is also a mixing bowl. You know, your salad bowl is your mixing bowl, is your serving bowl. You also want to get things that nest inside of each other so that you can make as much space as possible. So, you know, as you purchase or, you know, use what you have, you gotta measure, like bring it out here. Does it fit? This is going to be a very hands-on organizing job. You're going to carry it out here and see if you can make it work.
What you've already started doing.
I have, yeah, because it's really hard for me to visualize the stuff in the house and how it condenses down and how this RV absorbs everything or doesn't absorb everything.
Yeah,
so,
it's spatially, it's really, because the RV feels quite big, but the storage spaces are, you know, they're not so deep. So it's really something that you're going to have to roll your sleeves up and, you know, get out here with a tape measure and go like, okay. And this is, you know, this is the other thing where we don't want to get rid of things that are still good, but it's like, oh, if I went just down an inch on this bowl, it would fit in this drawer perfectly. You're going to be fighting for inches, which is, it's a great practice, but you are going to have to get unattached to things because you're really looking at what's practical, what fits in here, what's going to be able to cook on the road, what are we really going to need. So you are going to have to detach.
I'm just singing one song and I don't want to know what we're going to do. Gourmia. Our favorite appliance is an air fryer. That is, we checked out a whole bunch of air fryers. It's the only one that doesn't appear to be made with plastic. All the rest smell like plastic. It's big.
It's not just an air fryer. It also toasts, it roasts, it
warms up your cheese-free pizzas.
So
it does your fish, and it does it in half the time of an oven, and it's healthier than using a microwave.
So do you pull the microwave out and put the Gourmia in that space?
I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah.
I have looked in or tried to wrap my mind around it, and I don't know how you would do that. It's pretty built in. Yeah.
You're going to have, honestly.
The best I could do was put it here.
Right.
Which is going to block a little bit of window, and then I need to put some sort of a device down because these are Corian, which is actually not heat proof. So you'd have to put something down on top of it so that you don't hurt your Corian.
So if you use that a lot, that's, you know, the space, and then if you then you can pull it off. I think you have to bring your appliances in here. I'm not 100% you're going to be able to get all those appliances. Those juicers are big.
So,
well, our juicer is actually like
that big.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you got to do a test run and bring everything in here. You know, and that's going to be the hard thing because those are unitaskers. A juicer does one thing. So.
Before we dive into big picture, we just took a little bit of a tour. I definitely want to talk about what I call the studio. But before we do that, we looked at the bedroom. What did you find? What did you see? What did you learn? What do we need to know?
Well, you did have the amazing like room to Narnia, all that storage under the bed, which is fantastic. But you'd already put a few things in there, like some sleeping bags, a hammock, some different things that are soft.
Yeah.
So you have to think like a moving truck. Right? That you have the outdoor storage, so you're going to fill it with bins and hard stuff, and then you want to sneak all that soft stuff in between. I was also thinking that I would make an inventory of what you put in the outside storage so that you know where everything is, like hammock, outside storage, in a bin, so that when you go to look for something, when you're packing up, you know, you can check it all off. Like an inventory of everything would be really helpful. So that is great. That under the bed storage is fantastic. Winter clothes, another comforter. But you are embarking on a journey. You have a vision, you have a goal, you want all these amazing experiences and connections with people. There's not a lot of room for stuff on here. So you have to detach. You have to really bring on what you need, what you use multiple times a day. You really have to create space because there's not a lot of space here. So, you know, the things that we're kind of, when we're grounded and we're living in one space that, you know, one place, and it's like, oh, I can have this. That's really got to get on the chopping block, because your step moving forward is the experiences and the connections and who you're going to meet and where you're going to see and what you can do from your studio. So you, the things that you love living in a static place may not work here. So I just want you, everything that you view it with, does this support our vision? Does this create the life on the road that we want? Will we use this for multiple things?
I'm going to go into the details for a minute, then we're going to bring it big picture. I like some of the fine attention to detail you're mentioning. Felt hangers, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in the closet, you have tube hangers, which take up about 1/2 inch. If you get the skinny felt hangers, you'll go down to 1/4 inch, so you'll buy yourself more hanging space. Things like the closet is pretty short, but there's still, when your shirts are hanging, there's some room. So if you put your shoes in shoe bags, or your dress shoes that you wear less often, they can go underneath the clothes and not get the clothes dirty. So you can maximize. We talked about a shoe caddy that hangs on the back of the door. You know, that bathroom back in the studio, you're not going to use very often. So can you block a door that you're not going to use? Can you stick some stuff in a bathroom? Like, you're going to have to get creative and really containing things. Little bins, little shoebox sizes bins, so you can tuck things in corners. And I think keeping an inventory is going to help you know where everything is.
Do you keep that on the computer? Do you roll that out? I'm like, how do I sort? How do I find? I guess computer would allow me to keyword search files.
Yeah, I'd make a Google Doc. I just put it in Google Sheets, and I'd have columns, what the item is, what it's packed in, and what part of the RV it's in. The other nice thing about that is, because I do a pack list when I travel, that when you're at a place, you can check, and make sure you don't leave anything behind.
That's a good idea.
I love a Google Doc.
Anything you want to mention about the studio before you take us big picture?
The studio is going to be fantastic. You're going to have this beautiful backdrop of everywhere that you travel.
Thank you for making me feel good, because I know you're helping my ego on this one, and I'll take it, because we could have chosen more living space with no studio. And the studio, for those people who are wondering, well, what's the studio? We got something called a toy hauler, which means the back of it is a garage, which many people carry bicycles, motorcycles, implements of destruction, God knows what gasoline vehicles back there. And instead, we're using this as a separate room, as an office space, as a shrine, as a sacred space.
But that's your business, right? You both work from there. You create your content from there. You create your podcast from there. You need that space. And you also need to be able to work when the other person is existing. So it's the totally smart decision. So it's going to be, what you create in it is going to make it sacred, right? It's not the space. The space is the space. It's what you put into it. And I know that you want to create a sacred space, but just by following your vision and doing what you do best and inspiring people and loving people, the space becomes sacred. You don't need the accoutrements. Buddha's going to come along because Buddha's got to come along. But some of the other stuff, you know, I mean, I've heard, you know, people talk about church can be under a tree.
It's true.
So the space can become sacred. So that sort of takes me to the bigger picture of detaching from the stuff again, really looking at, you know, why you made this decision to do this, and, you know, what you're hoping to accomplish and how you want to meet people. And does this can opener fit with that vision? Will we use it? Will we, you know, really look at things in the micro? We're going to use it. Will we need it? And then in the macro, does this support our journey? Because you've called this a journey.
Absolutely.
Right.
A journey without a destination.
The RV is named Grace, and the truck is named Ease. And so with every item that we pick up, and we can ask ourselves, is this going to bring grace and ease?
Is this going to make our lives easier, makes our lives useful, and do we have a place to put it? You know, it's going to be great. I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so excited. You got a hard couple weeks coming up before you get on the road, you know. And here's the other thing, that you have to trust that if you let go of something and then down the road you're like, oh, I actually really needed that, You can trust that you can either purchase it again or get it off a Buy Nothing group or find it. You know, you're not going to Mars. You're going to be able to get things. So I wouldn't worry so much about that.
Are there thoughts or concerns that you have?
Well, I was just thinking if we do need to repurchase something, it's going to be an upgraded version of whatever we had with the latest bells and whistles. So,
and I like bells and whistles.
And it's also going to be bought for this space, right? You're going to be like, oh, this actually works in this space. So I think that I think that you're going to step in, you're really going to spend the next couple weeks looking at things spatially, usefully, and unemotionally. You've got to take the emotion out of it, because this is really a practical, you're really looking at it practically. I know that you're a little more attached than she is.
I'm Mr. Sentimental, but I also teach people about the space capsule, and this, I guess, is the ultimate space. It's our own little space station, and what's it cost to ship up every single item to get it into the space station, and then you don't have much storage in the space station.
Right, exactly. And if you think about it too, this capsule is gonna have everything you love and hold dear. Jessica, the cats, Ruru, like it's all that. So can opener, no can opener, really think about the beings that are going to be on this journey with you.
I just had a weird, you were talking no duplicates. We have 3 kitty cats, so we were bringing 3 kitty homes plus a rooster home on here. Where is that all going to fit?
Well, they fold up and they're virtually flat, so I'm sure
virtually flat isn't flat.
They're like,
yes, they're 2 inches by 18 by 24.
They sleep in them at night.
No, but if there's ever an emergency, we need to be able to.
Oh, yeah, cat carriers. But those do fold. That's another thing that can tuck in the,
even like behind here.
Yeah, or up in that space above the bed up there, right? That you won't be pulling down that much. So you're gonna get down. It's gonna be, get ready for some catharsis. There's gonna be some tears. You've got your journey start. You haven't gotten on the road yet, but your journey in downsizing and letting go is starting now.
For people who are downsizing, because what we're talking about RV living. We're talking about Jessica and Michael going on the road, but we're also talking about an adventure. Either COVID people are downsizing, or they're going to a tiny home, or they're going to a smaller home in life because that's the stage that they're at or choosing to be at. What other big picture milieu or concept, or maybe what's that one most important concept that we get to understand about going from big box to little box?
I always tell people to hold on to I call it the vision or the reason that you're making this move. Are you downsizing because you want to be closer to your grandkids? Are you downsizing because you want to be closer to your parents? Are you downsizing to save money? There's some motivating factor. So use when the stuff seems like it's so important. How can I possibly let go of this? But you then say to yourself, but you know what? I want to make this change because I'm going to be closer to family. I'm going to be closer to the nature that I want to be in. I want to be in a teeny house because it's less impactful on the environment. If you look at the motivator and why you're making that choice, it's easier to let go of the stuff.
Know your why.
Know your why. Exactly. Know your why. Know your why.
Do we know our why?
For me, it's to be able to be closer to my parents and just, and to also leave my parents.
again.
And then go back with ease. And to also be with my kitties and our rooster. Because every time I have to get on a plane, I can't take my whole family with me.
That's a good why. Those are good whys.
I want to explore. I want to be able to record anywhere, anytime. And I want to, in fire season, get you, I love the mountains, I love the West, but I want to be able to be flexible enough to get us away from the smoke. So, and having had fires come to our door a couple times in a row, that becomes a very key consideration. I actually enjoyed last fall. We were in an RV for 2 months, and it was very chaotic and it was very challenging and difficult. But I actually love the concept of everything having a home. Even though I have a lot of work to do on this, that felt good. Something felt secure about everything having its own
Well,
home.
it's making order out of chaos, right? The world's so chaotic right now, and you're like, oh no, I know where this goes. I know where to find this. I know this place. I think it's an exciting exercise, and when you do it with your why in place, it's not going to feel like a chore. That's why you infuse it with your why.
So last fall we were on an RV trip, and what was awesome about that was every time that we had to move the RV, we had to put everything away because you can't drive with things out. They just crash and break. And so that enforced Michael putting things away all the time.
That's great. That's a total positive. And so when you look ahead to the studio, you may want to think about some bins or some chests or something that can attach to the wall so that you can put away your stuff. And then when you come back, you can reinstall it.
Clean, simple. I wrote a book for kids and adults with attention deficit disorder several decades ago. And I talked about actually getting a light colored desk and actually taking things like your stapler and using a Sharpie and putting it around the stapler. And as bad as it would look, you would have this desire to put your stapler back in that exact place.
Well, that's what Julia Child did in her kitchen.
No.
Oh, that's
really?
what she was famous for. She had a pegboard along the back of her kitchen, and every pot that she used was outlined, and she knew exactly where to put it back, and she knew exactly where to grab it, and she didn't have any more than could fit on that pegboard.
I wonder if we can pegboard the place up.
Rattle, 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 rattle.
That's a good point.
We could do that inside the drawers. I could draw little outlines for you.
It makes it easier.
Oh, here's a last minute little tip. There's this rubber matting that's looks like egg cartons almost. It's squishy rubber matting.
I've got some right up here in the shelf.
Yep, you're gonna
above us.
want to put it in every single drawer because it'll keep things from rolling around.
Okay.
Very, very cool. This has been phenomenal. This is going to be helpful for us. This is going to be helpful for everyone out there, because even if you're not downsizing, I'm going to use the old school expression, which I haven't used in many a month. I think I haven't had a meltdown like this since Colorado, which is clutter.
Yeah.
There's so much clutter. I think you've had that more recently.
Like weekly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll meet up on the road.
Woohoo!
I'll follow you guys, and I have a feeling our paths will cross. So I'll come and see what you did with it and a little touch up, and I'm really excited for you guys.
Looking forward to it, and you'll have to catch us with Ruru in Vegas.
Oh, I'm in.
Ruru on the Strip. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this?
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I feel like we're gonna be much more courageous.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm super excited for you guys.
I feel like I want to do two things. One, bring all the appliances and see how they fit. And two, we found a little interior boo-boo on the RV on Grace, and see how we can get that to be even better, an upgrade rather than bring it back to its new norm. This has been phenomenal.
It's been great. Thank you guys.
Thank you
Safe
so
travels.
much. For everyone out there.
Yay.
For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get yourself on the open road, downgrade, or, well, it's really upgrading. Downsize, upsize, but above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! No more clutter! Where can people go, Tracy, to find your book, to find everything that you do, and to figure out how in the world to declutter?
Fantastic. So people can come to my website, TracyMcCubbin.com.
Can you spell that out for me?
Yes, I can. Tracy, TracyMcCubbin. So think about like McMuffin, McCubbin.
I was actually going on the concept for a movie many years ago, McLovin.
Exactly. So they can find me there. I'm big on Instagram. So Tracy_McCubbin. The book, Making Space Clutter Free, the last book on decluttering you'll ever need, is available at every place that you buy books. And I look forward to seeing people out in the digital world.
Very, very cool. And I must say, that is the coolest subtitle for a book ever. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
Jessica Lee.
saying, be well, have fun, downsize, upsize, whatever you do, declutter size, and above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! If you want to follow our journey, or be sure to follow our journey, so click that subscribe button below, click the bell icon to be notified of our next show. We'll be sharing our journey, showing what happens at our storage units. Oy vey. And we're going to be on the road with 3 kitty cats and a rooster and a show. Should be an exciting ride. Love you guys so much. Click here to check out more amazing shows. Subscribe. Click that bell icon. Big thumbs up if you love this. Above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! Good job, Rue. Love you guys.